Well, the Super Falcons of Nigeria have, of course, made Nigeria proud. They've made football-loving Nigerians proud. In fact, this night, I can say I'm very happy, very, very happy. Well, I've been very critical of the Super Falcons of Nigeria. I've been, of course, criticizing them from the inception of this tournament because of the fact that I know what they can do. I know what their predecessors did, how they, of course, dominated African women's football for a very long time. I watched the Super Falcons for, I've watched them for a very long time. I've, of course, been watching them for a long time, from the days of Perpetual Kocha, from, of course, the days of Messi Akide, to the days of the players who, of course, made the Super Falcons proud. I've continued to monitor their game. Well, this said, I just felt that they have obviously sometimes flatter to deceive. Yes, they've of course obviously some of the times flatter to deceive. But then today is not the day where I'll criticize the Super Falcons, even though I would not still call them so slack, alright? But then for the Super Falcons, today they played against South Africa. It was the semi-final stage of the CAF Women's African Cup of Nations. Well, it was a difficult game. Yes, I knew it was going to be. Well, of course, I knew it was going to be difficult because South Africans, they have one thing in them, whether male or female, they would always up their game anytime they see the Nigerian national team, whether the under 20, the under 17, whether female or male. Anytime they see Nigeria, they somehow find their form, even though they probably have been losing matches. But this time around, it wasn't difficult. It wasn't different in any way. It wasn't different in any way for Nigeria. In fact, some of the times I couldn't even recognize the Super Falcons. The South Africans made it very difficult for us to play our own game. But somehow we found a way to score in the 45th minute of this game. It was just a dot of halftime, courtesy of that penalty from Rashidat Ajibadi. And then, of course, the South Africans in the second half came back to life. In the first half, we didn't really have it easy. We just had a few spells that were good. We had a couple of shots on target in the early moment of the game, but we didn't really play the way we should have played. Right? We weren't dominating in the game. We weren't dominating in the second balls. We weren't, of course, dominating in terms of shot at goal or even shots on target. But then also we weren't dominating in terms of the number of passes that we were expected to have on the day. Maybe because South Africans also read our game and knew that we have one thing with, of course, domination. But then in the second half, the South Africans, of course, came back, courtesy of Motiba, and of course it was a brilliant penalty. But if you talk about the foul that led to the penalty, I will tell you one thing: there was no penalty there. Even though Osinachi Hali was silly for allowing that foul, for drawing that foul, but it was nothing close to a foul in any way. The referee obviously may have given Nigeria a penalty in the first half. Probably decided to compensate the South Africans in the second half. That was just basically how I saw it and the way it was going. But the South Africans equalized 1-1. And it was looking like, once again, just like the last match for the South Africans, which went to penalties against Senegal, I was scared because I didn't want this match to go into extra 30 minutes because our players, some of them were already losing some steam. And I felt that we will not be able to survive another 30 minutes. Somehow, Michel Alozie, the beautiful Michel Alozie, somehow bailed us out. It was looking like a cross into the 18, but then it turned out to be a shot on target because that delightful cross coming from her in the 94th minute. It was 90 minutes plus 4. Well, that single goal, or a cross you can call it, was just what saved us the day because we were beginning to lose a lot of balls. We were beginning to lose second balls, and the South Africans were looking like they were going to see the 90 minutes out and then, of course, go into extra time, which I didn't want in any way because extra time, 30 minutes, then it could go anywhere. All right, but we had to win it in regulation time, and we did really win it. So congratulations to the Super Falcons of Nigeria. Congratulations to Madugu and, of course, his girls. They've made Nigeria proud. They've, of course, qualified to play at the final of the African Women's Cup of Nations 2024. So we are going to wait. We're going to wait and then hope that the other teams who, of course, are expected to slug it out, hopefully this evening we'll finish our match and then we'll know our opponent for the final of this one. Hopefully, I think the final should be this weekend, but whichever day it is, our opponents are waiting. If we are waiting for our opponent, let me know if our opponents are because we are waiting for our opponent. You see, I'm talking in a lot of excitement. There's so much excitement for me. I'm happy tonight because I mean I wanted us to get to this final by all means. In 2022, we couldn't make it. In 2018, it was a difficult one for us, right? We won it yes in 2018. In 2022, we weren't capable of course, getting it done. But this time around, I want us to win it, and we have gotten to the final. So hopefully, Madugu, of course, that Mission X that he's always spoken about is going to be possible this time around.